डिपार्टमेंट भी सब प्लान कर रहा है। हाँ, एसोसिएशन भी अपना काम करता है, तो हर डिपार्टमेंट का साथ ही है।
I request all the dignitaries to please take their seats on the dais.
Yuri,
Good morning to all dignitaries, guests, delegates, and fellow members of Indian Statistical Service. I, Pankuri Shukla, from the 2016 batch of ISS, feel privileged to extend to all of you a very warm welcome for this seminar on leveraging technology for evidence-based decision-making, organized by Indian Statistical Service Association in collaboration with United Nations in India. Well, the topic of seminar today is of huge importance for all the official statisticians, as leveraging technology and moving towards evidence-based decision-making will not only play pivotal and indispensable roles in resolving contemporary issues, also it will guarantee the success of our profession and of statistical science. The time is now to promote the use of statistics and the role of statisticians in making good decisions based on objective evidence. Evidence-based decision-making includes both a desire to be guided by evidence and to generate new evidences. My fellow statistician friends, let me tell you that the scope of evidence-based decision-making ranges from education to the environment, to criminal justice, to national security. So I believe at the end of this seminar, we all will feel more empowered and enriched to facilitate a firm evidence base for policymakers. We have today a series of knowledgeable sessions. I request all of you to stay tuned. To start the event, I would request Dr. Davendra Verma sir, President Indian Statistical Service Association, to kindly deliver his welcome remarks. Please give him a huge round of applause.
Very good morning, Honorable Minister of State for Statistics and Program Implementation, Secretary, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, Resident Coordinator of the United Nations India, Mr. Yuri, distinguished speakers, representatives from UN organizations, my fellow colleagues, and media persons. On behalf of Indian Statistical Service Association, I welcome you all to this seminar. I am thankful to Honorable Minister for sparing his time and joining us for this seminar and inaugurating the seminar. I am also thankful to our secretary for sparing his valuable time and to be available to us for the whole forenoon. I am also thankful to Yuri and his team for sponsoring this seminar and being with us in this event. This seminar is first of its kind, conceived by Indian Statistical Service Association to bring together on one platform the technology and data science experts from the private sector, research institution and the government of India to discuss ways to leverage and advance in technology to facilitate efficient and evidence-based decision making. I am happy to inform that experts who will take part in the panel discussion today have proven themselves to be technology champions and process leaders. I am grateful to them for taking time out of their busy schedule to be here. I am pleased to see that large number of young officers of ISS who are participating in this event. It is a great opportunity to expose them to new development taking place in the domain of data science, and at the same time listen to them on the need for improving the structure of training courses and the official statistical institution currently undergo. We believe that the official institution must be given the right training to adapt to the challenges of the new age. For this purpose, an entire panel discussion has been dedicated to understand their skill requirements. On the other hand, a session has also been dedicated to the advancements on big data technology, visualization technology, and their possible applications on the official statistical system. This kind of interactive dialogue is necessary for intellectual development of the statisticians. I urge the ministry to organize similar workshops, seminars on a regular basis in future, and I also urge UN to be part in the future also. This will help in bringing in place a mechanism for providing feedback to the system on the needs for improvement in training curricula of the officers. It is also suggested that the ministry may take lead for developing capacity appropriately for monitoring the sustainable development goals across the various verticals so as to ensure that proper monitoring as per the global framework of SDGs which India has adopted is developed. I may like to mention that the monitoring of the SDGs is quite challenging. The SDGs consist of 17 goals, 169 targets, and the global framework has 232 indicators, and they have 82 in the tier 1, 61 in tier 2, and 84 in tier 1. The national framework, which has around 306 indicators, had only 70 of the global indicators. There are many areas where we do not have any indicators, we do not have the technology how to measure, needs lot of capacity development, lot of research, and lot of discussions like this. The areas such as measurement of the poverty in all dimensions, how to measure the hunger, the food security, the sustainable agriculture, how to define itself as an issue, food wastage, how to measure the food wastages, how to measure the inequalities. I am not talking about the income inequalities, I am talking about all inequalities. Then how to measure the violence against women. These are perception-based surveys. Requires a lot of thinking how to quantify these issues so that we are able to measure it properly. Another challenging issue is the modern slavery. In fact, the ILO report which measures the modern slavery has taken the perception-based survey, and the forced marriage, the type of survey they have conducted, almost 90% of the marriages in India are classified as the forced marriage. These are the issues, these are the challenges for the institution, particularly for the Indian institutions, how in the Indian context one works out on these surveys, these perception-based surveys, and how one measures that. Then there are issues like material footprint. Then there are indicators on environment and climate change. Then the indicators on essential health services. To define essential health services itself is an issue. Then sustainable tourism, how to define the sustainable tourism, how to measure that. And then there are many governance indicators. All these requires a lot of research, a lot of thinking, a lot of experimentation. And these areas will always require a lot of discussion among the statistical community and particularly among the ISS officers. We have also invited in today's seminar some of our officers to showcase how they have innovatively made use of technology to engineer the process in their respective work areas through the case studies. I hope that the discussion in the session will be interactive and thought-provoking. It is a good way of providing a platform for showing the good work being done by the ISSA officers across the government. I wish to take this opportunity to make a case through this forum for granting, so this is for you, for granting the apex level scale for all the DGs post. And I know you have been taking that seriously, but as the president of the ISSA Association, I thought let me bring this again to your notice, and to bring the service at par with the Indian Economic Service and other central services. It will motivate and encourage the best talent in the country to join the official statistical system, and also to ensure that official institutions can reach the highest level of policy making in the government. I also urge the Ministry to explore possibility of instituting an award for ISS officers for creative use of technology and innovation in their official work domain. I am thankful to the members of the UN India team who have worked tirelessly with us to make this event possible. Without their active support and help, the seminar would not have taken shape. I must also make mention of the efforts put in by the executive committee members of the ISSA for giving shape to this seminar. With this word, I welcome you again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those motivational words. Indeed, it has felt more enthusiasm and excitement for the event ahead. At the Sustainable Development Summit on 25th September 2015, UN member states adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which includes a set of 17 Sustainable Development Goals to end poverty, fight inequality and injustice, and tackle climate change by 2030. We cannot afford a lag of several years before we start to measure progress towards achieving the SDGs. So we do need a monitoring framework. Since technology nowadays aids to almost all the shortcomings, so we may expect a lot from it even in this case. To take us in detail regarding the role of technology in monitoring sustainable development goals, I feel privileged to announce that today we have the man with a very dynamic profile, from serving various disaster and conflict duty stations, acting as policy officer at UNDP headquarters New York, to UN resident coordinator and UNDP resident representative in Bosnia, Herzegovina, Croatia, and present in India, Mr. Yuri Afanasiev. I would now request Mr. Afanasiev to accept our warm welcome extended by Dr. Davendra Verma, Director General and President, Indian Statistical Service Association. Please give him a huge round of applause. I would now request Mr. Afanasiev to deliver his valuable insights on the topic, role of technology in monitoring sustainable development goals.
Thank you. That sounded almost like an Oscar nomination announcement. I'm sorry, I certainly did not insist on it, colleagues. Honorable Minister, honorable colleagues on the dais, friends, UN agency representatives, good morning. And indeed, it is a pleasure to work with our friends in Mosby, not only in organizing this event for all of you statistical officers out there in the states of India and in the ministry, but also it's gratifying that we have started, and a long time ago now, on a process of collaboration with the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, because frankly, we live in an interesting and exciting time. And I know that statistics is not perhaps the most exciting science in the world, but we live in an exciting time because this is the era of big data. We live in an interdependent world where both the realization of the SDGs and the realization of India's national development goals will rely largely on building effective partnerships. And I am gratified to see that we have distinguished representatives from business in this room, because the cutting edge of data analytics is actually happening in the private sector today globally. thanks to cloud storage and social networks and distribution and progress of IT technology in telephony and elsewhere, and GIS data. We are working closely together with ministries in the Indian government, and this effort is led by Mosby and assisted by NITI, on developing and rolling out an SDG dashboard, which will help India capture the progress towards the SDGs, and hopefully we will soon be able to discuss with you, colleagues at the state level, how to take that dashboard also to the level of the states, so you can track your own state level indicators, but also track the SDGs at the state level, because I understand that it's the full intention of the government of India to track it centrally and rank the states in terms of their achievements of various goals and targets, as it has kind of in other areas, not exclusive to the SDGs. We are also happy that just recently, a month ago, the Director General and I launched our new undertaking, which is a Data for Development Coordination Committee, where a number of colleagues from UN agencies and certainly Mosby are participating, and that would be kind of a focused, substantive engagement, a technical level committee where we would discuss some of the issues that you also would be looking at today. An important step in the tracking and measuring of the SDG implementation through data is the facilitation and identification of trends, patterns, and analytics, or the stories that the data tells us. And high-level decisions with respect to development need to be made with reference to accurate, timely, and relevant data. Now, it is my honest belief that India could be a leader in developing intelligent and unique development solutions, which could combine data analytic tools and the SDG lens, as well as national priority lens, to target interventions in geography and in critical mass. What am I saying here? I mean, essentially I'm describing to you a concept of intelligent development. Because if in a country the size of India, in a federal structure with 35 states and union territories, we could target the development problem down to the level of the district and the block in real or almost real time, we could identify the concept of what is called critical mass. And I know this is not kind of necessarily what statisticians deal with on a daily basis, but for us development professionals, this is the holy grail. Because essentially, up until recently, or even up until today, what governments used to do is identify the problem and then budget for the entire problem. And this led to ineffective use of public resources, because many programs around the world are being rolled out, have been rolled out, to target the entirety of the problem as opposed to its critical mass. If we could get down to that level of intelligent analytics and intelligent development, using various data sources, we could use public and other resources a lot more effectively than has been done today. I believe the combination in India of the rollout of technology and technological and mobile platforms, the fact that India is a vibrant democracy where there is access to information, and a rapidly developing marketplace with a lot of big players working with data and data analytics, could be that magical combination which allows India to actually be a pathfinder as opposed to a follower in this very crucial area in the 21st century. The rate of innovation in data collection techniques and technologies, and the capacity to distribute data widely and freely that we are witnessing today is frankly unparalleled. And the adoption of the SDGs presents a strategic opportunity to build on that momentum of the data revolution and demonstrate the centrality of data for development. So I honestly believe that India must look to capitalizing on the data revolution and turn it into a revolution of sustainable development. One of the things that I also believe India is uniquely positioned for is many of you are familiar for decades now with the concept of human development. And it's a wonderful concept. I belong to an organization that actually rolled it out, and it was a famous Indian that was the author of that concept, Mr. Amartya Sen, who we in the development profession frequently consider as one of our gods, whether you agree with it or not, but that's how it is in reality. Now, today, the concept of human development is evolving into something else. Whether we call it sustainable development indicator or sustainable development concept is a second question, but the fact is that the reality of today and the new revolutions in data and the concepts of sustainability and environmental and climate challenge are pushing us towards the evolution of that concept into something else. I believe because of this extreme or unique nationalization of human development that has happened in India over decades, positions it uniquely to be one of the leaders in the evolution of this concept and these indicators, because ultimately we will have to measure the sustainable development goals. And what better way to rank the country's progress on sustainable development than to evolve an indicator that actually is embedded in the sustainable development framework. So I certainly invite our friends from MOSBI and other parts as appropriate in the Indian government and in the Indian academia, because it's not only the government and the statisticians that are part and parcel of this debate, but certainly invite them in the course of 2018 to start moving that concept forward. We are happy to provide a partnership for Indians, for Indian officials and academics to do that, but I believe it's high time to progress. Last but not least, innovation is not just about adopting new technologies, it's also about improving existing ones. Many surveys are now being conducted on digital mobile platforms. We are told that the new periodic labor force survey launched by NSSO will use handheld devices and tablets instead of the usual paper forms, and will have a computer-assisted personal interviewing solution developed with technical assistance from World Bank and others. This is a very encouraging development. I think we need to also bring a lot more private sector thinking into our debate, because just from anecdotal experience of what private sector is doing today with data and data analysis is truly amazing and is frequently pathfinding. Now that certainly needs to be adapted to the public sector and to government, and we all know, I'm personally not a statistician, I'm an economist, but we know that economists and statisticians are frequently the most conservative people on the planet. But having said that, I think there is room for us to look at emerging and innovative trends and absorb those that are useful for our country's progress towards sustainable development and achievement of national targets. I wish you all a brilliant discussion and sharing of experiences today. We will be, I think, seeing each other in the future, because one of the goals of today and the coming days and weeks is to identify the training and development needs that will in the future be applied to and will be rolled out to statistical offices at the state level and elsewhere. So thank you very much, and hope you have a very fruitful day today.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us. It's true that profit in business come from repeat customers, customers that boast about your project or service and that brings friends with them. Therefore, it is understood that innovation comes from the producer and not from the customers. Similarly, in our case, innovation comes from we who generates and manages statistics and not from the users of statistics. So staying attuned to the technological advancements around is something that is really needed in today's scenario. Moving further, I would now like to request our respected Secretary MOSPI and the Chief Statistician of India, Dr. TCA Anant sir, to accept a small token of gratitude presented by Dr. Davendra Verma, Director General and President, Indian Statistical Service Association. Please welcome him with a round of applause. Thank you, sir. With this warm welcome, I would now request sir to enlighten us with his thoughts.
Good morning, everybody. Honorable Minister Shri Vijay Goel, Yuri, Davendra, colleagues in the audience, and if Ashish can hear me, Ashish as well. I first of all would like to start by complimenting the Indian Statistical Service Association for having organized this. I think this marks a major improvement in the traditional approach to ISS get-togethers and meetings, which were largely social occasions or limited to discussing professional issues within the working community. But I think ISS and the statistical community now has a much bigger role and challenge ahead of it. In some ways, the work of the statistical community has become a lot more complicated. 20 years ago or more, the statisticians had a virtual monopoly on the supply of data. Because even though they gathered data from both directly from surveys or administrative records, the method of making it available essentially required the critical element of a statistician to mediate converting what was theoretically possible or described into data. But the last 20 odd years have seen a major change in technology, which has in one level democratized the availability of data. Everybody, in fact, from a small school child to an elderly gentleman, all of them through their smartphones, mobiles, have access to a huge amount of data. Not only are they accessing data, they are generating data. So the world of technology has made, in some sense, the statistician's job very difficult, because as long as you were a monopoly, you were able to make sure that data was made available in a manner which was coherent, consistent, easily understood, reliable, and communicated with clarity to the users about what was being said through that data. Now we are today in a world where there is a sea of data-based, evidence-based discussion taking place. Much of it has not been processed or understood by professional statisticians, and that becomes a challenge. Because the professional statistician in his toolkit and training brings in a vast variety of understanding about how to examine data so as to actually present it in the best way possible. This creates a problem. There are today results being put out both using traditional surveys, because it has become very easy to do a survey. So very large number of surveys are done with virtually no statistical expertise associated with them. Many of them lead to absurd conclusions, many of them lead to misleading conclusions. Sometimes in the manner in which concepts are defined, again, in the absence of consulting with statisticians, we find presentations which are problematic. Davendra, when he was making his opening remarks, hinted at some of them. The newer technologies pose many challenges to us. We need to engage with them because they made our task easier. As Yuri mentioned, traditional methods of data collection, processing, presentation were time-consuming and difficult. New technologies have made our task very easy. We have many examples in today's discussion where the statistical community itself will demonstrate how it has adapted to the new technologies to make traditional tasks faster and more reliable. But there is also a need to engage with all these new forms of data. Social media, satellite imagery, you name it. There is any number of things which are currently available, and all of them pose challenges of understanding, interpretation, and to see how they can be linked with the traditional questions which governments and policymakers are interested in. So the job of the statistician has become much more complex and much more diverse. This workshop, I hope, will begin a beginning of a dialogue which we should continue between the professional statistician who is represented through the community present here and this vast expanded community of data scientists who have come about in the private sector, in other areas of government, who are involved in various aspects of data management, system design, informatics, who are not traditionally statisticians, but who are now become, if you like, part of the data community. I would like a dialogue to begin with all of them so that we can, in fact, communicate the statistician's need for consistency, coherence, reliability, predictability, all of those things. And as Yuri said, we are a very conservative community. We don't take to new things so easily. So our concerns and our requirements need to be brought into all these new uses of data, because it is only with this bringing together of the statisticians and all the new players in the field that we can do better as a nation. I think there is a lot of prospects in India, because one of the great things which we have going for us is we have one of the most dynamic community of technical people working in data science. Indian work in this leads to both fears and comments all over the world. The references are periodically made to Bangalore, and it is no longer Bangalore, it includes Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune. You name Indian cities, each one of them is getting into this act. So I think our role in this has become extremely challenging. I once again would like to thank the association for having taken this up. I would like the entire ISS fraternity based both in Delhi and elsewhere in the country to take this as part of their professional challenge. Whatever they do as part of their regular work, they're of course doing, and they're doing it well, but this engagement with the emerging needs of data, data science and so on is something which I would like all of you to engage with so as to help us go better in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the words of wisdom. We are very happy to have you here with us. The coming century is surely the century of data. It doesn't matter how beautiful your theory is. It doesn't matter how smart you are. If it doesn't agree with the experiment, it's wrong. And there comes the significance of evidence-based decision-making. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to announce that today we have amongst us our Honorable Minister of State for Statistics and Program Implementation, Shri Vijay Goel, sir. I would request, sir, to accept our warm welcome extended by Dr. Davendra Verma, sir, Director General and President, Indian Statistical Service Association. Please give a big hand and welcome him. Thank you, sir. I would now like to request Honorable Minister, sir, to address the gathering by his motivational words.
Good morning, friends. I also want to start my speech by congratulating Indian Statistical Service Association for organizing such an informative seminar. I welcome you, Mr. Yuri, Mr. Anant, TC Anant, our Secretary of Ministry of Statistical and Program Implementation, Davendra Verma, the DG, and also the President of the Indian Statistical Service Association, Mr. Vikas Arora, Head of Cloud Business, India and South Asia, IBM, senior officials and other distinguished members, ladies and gentlemen. This seminar is a very useful platform where all concerned can share their ideas and path, breaking works done by them with the use of technology. Such interactive platforms go a long way in discussing problems of the present and future and find ways to redress the same. The general impression about statistics is that it's a boring subject. Statistics is viewed by many as untrustworthy. In politics, anything given in statistics to the common people is not given due attention, as roughly is this norm, it tended to be effective to influence the people. Despite this criticism, the aspiration to depict a society in its entirety and to do so in an objective fashion has meant that various programs' ideals have been attached to statistics. The image of statistics as a dispassionate science of society is only one part of the story. The other part is about how powerful political ideals became invested in these techniques, ideals of evidence-based policy, rationally progress, and nationhood grounded in facts rather than in romanticized stories. It is the duty of the statisticians to present the statistical figure not by using a number of jargons but in simple language, so that the common people can absorb or comprehend the statistical analysis. I have been informed that the official statistical system in India, managed by the ISS officer, is one of the oldest, most scientific and professional system across the world. The official statistical system in India takes pride in producing authentic statistics of various kinds, devoid of any external intervention. For the statistical system to adopt innovative practice and adapt to new age challenges. The best available talent should be recruited and enough opportunities be provided to them to grow with the system and, more importantly, contribute to the development of the country. The theme chosen for the seminar today, leveraging technology for furthering statistics for decision making, is an apt one, as both technology and statistics are the bedrocks of modern policy making. Combining the two could result in a powerful tool for the policy makers. It is of utmost importance to leverage upon the great strides the country and the world in general has taken in the technology arena. Technology can help in providing solutions to a large number of issues. I am given to understand that officers will be presenting short case studies on their respective work areas on how technology has been made use for process re-engineering and also in harnessing data collection. I hope the others can take cue from these innovative uses of technology and set out to work on developing similar technology-based solutions in their work areas. I am glad to see that the United Nations has agreed to partner in the cause of this discussion. It's a matter of great pride that India has contributed significantly to the development of Global Sustainable Development Goals framework. The Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation has engaged deeply with the United Nations in this regard. The SDGs framework is being increasingly recognized as the outcome indicator framework of the 21st century challenges. In this backdrop, it becomes important to adopt the same and work towards the active monitoring. However, there are some data challenges in the monitoring of SDGs which can be met through the active participation of the ISS officers posted across various ministries. Through this forum, I would urge upon all of you to take up this activity with renewed vigor. We have amongst us distinguished speakers from the United Nations Organization, private corporations such as IBM, Deloitte, PricewaterhouseCoopers, which gives a great mix of stakeholders to speak on the chosen theme. It shows that the private sector, institutions, and the government are on the same page in terms of leveraging the technology advancements for finding solutions to the development questions. there is also a great need to consider the skill requirement of official statisticians to rise up to the challenges of the new age. I dedicated session in this regard is indeed a welcome step. If we work together in a coordinated fashion, as we have gathered today, we will be able to truly reap the benefits of the digital transformation that is fast taking place in our country and bring about significant changes in the lives of the ordinary men and women by migrating to an information society. I wish you all the best. I am sure today's seminar will be fruitful in discussing the challenges faced by the statistical system of the country and their solution. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those valuable remarks. It's an honor for all of us to have you here. Thank you so much for gracing the occasion. Moving ahead with the inaugural session, I would now request Mr. Chandrajeet Chatterjee, Secretary, Indian Statistical Service Association, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Indian Statistical Service Association and the United Nations in India, I am honored to propose the formal vote of thanks for today's seminar. First and foremost, I am grateful to Shri Vijay Goel, sir, Honorable Minister of State for Statistics and PI, for being kind enough to spare his valuable time and agreeing to inaugurate the seminar today. His presence today guides us and motivates us to come together as a fraternity and always prosper for a better future. I would also like to place on record my sincere gratitude to our Honorable Minister, Shri D.V. Sadananda Gowda. He could not be present today because of his prior engagements, but he has sent his best wishes for the seminar. It is my duty to thank the Chief Statistician of India and the Secretary, Ministry of Statistics and PI for having kindly acceded to our request to be present in the seminar and also to chair one of the technical sessions during the seminar. Going ahead, I also wish to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to Mr. Vikas Arora, Head of Cloud Business at IBM India and South Asia, for accepting to address the gathering today on a very short notice. I extend my thanks to Mr. Yuri Afanasiev, the UN Resident Coordinator in India, first of all, for agreeing to collaborate with the ISSA to host the seminar, as well as to agreeing to be a part of the inaugural session as well. I'm grateful to Shri Ashish Kumar sir to join us on Skype on a rather inconvenient time for him from Japan, and also to share his vast experience with us during one of the sessions scheduled for today. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all the esteemed and reputed speakers from various organizations, especially from the private corporate sector, Mr. Dipyaman Sanyal, Program Chair Analytics, Bridge School of Management, Mr. Anurag Dua, Partner PricewaterhouseCoopers, Mr. Sanjeev Gupta, Country Manager, Microsoft India, and also the different people from UNESCAP who will be making some presentation during the course of the day. I am also grateful to the speakers of our own fraternity, the Indian Statistical Service Officers, who we have called for presenting some case studies today. Mr. Rohit Bhardwaj, an officer of the 1998 batch, Dr. Pankaj Srivastav, an officer of 99 batch, and Ms. Anshu Singh, an officer of the 2000 batch, who will be presenting their innovative use of technology in their respective work areas. I am also thankful to Dr. Davendra Verma sir, DGSS, and the President of Indian Statistical Service Association for his leadership and able management under which we have organized this seminar. And of course, my greatest sincere gratitude to Praveen Srivastav sir, ADG MOSPI, and also the Vice President ISSA for his guidance at all stages and working out the nitty-gritties of this seminar. Special thanks goes to the team of Social Corps who will be facilitating a survey today on the training needs assessment of the official statisticians. Please do take the survey. That's a request from this platform. We have designed the survey through the UNESCAP questionnaire, and they will be merely facilitating it on their Collect app. I am extremely thankful to the UN India team. Of course, Ms. Meenakshi is here, Mr. Swastik could not make it. So I'm extremely grateful to them. They have been collaborating with us from the beginning to organize this seminar, and we're really grateful that they could partner with us on this first of its kind event. Last but not the least, I will be failing in my duty if I do not thank all the officers of the Indian Statistical Service who took the time out from their personal commitments on a chilly bright Saturday morning and could make it to this platform here and also contribute through their valuable experiences. So with this, I'll conclude my vote of thanks, and once again, my sincerest gratitude to all of you to having made here and making this seminar a grand success. Thank you.